We're ranking the Grinches.
We watched everything the Grinch.
Every single Grinch iteration we checked out, and we're gonna give the definitive rankings, as in our opinions, what we think these things rank.
We even played one of the worst Grinch games just to get our Grinch on.
Oh, this includes the Grinch games. We got all in on the Grinch. This was a Grinchmas for us. Now it's gonna be a Grinchmas for you. I actually came up with a tier system, Phelan.
Okay.
I didn't tell you, so I'm going to list off what the tier system is for
then.
you and the audience, okay?
Are we going to put more than one there, or...?
Yeah, you can rank.
Okay.
And I think, like, it should be... We rank them how... Like, we don't have to come to a consensus.
No.
If you feel like one's worse than I think it is,
Sure.
We'll have our own. All right, this is the top tier. If you think this is, like, the best Grinch, this is the Grinchiest Grinch, it's the Grinch of all time.
The original's probably on the lowest.
Not yet. We haven't gotten to it. All right, the Grinch of all time. That's the top tier.
That's S tier?
Yeah, S tier is the Grinch of all time. I just wrote these.
Okay.
So if it's like a pretty good Grinch, you love it, but it's not like your favorite of all time, that's Grinchy goodness.
Okay.
If you have no strong feelings on the Grinch, then it's my heart grew no sizes that day. If you think that this is just a poo-poo Grinch, poo-poo, you ain't into this. It's the stinker that stole Christmas.
Okay.
And if it's just a big dump, it's I wish I was dead.
Okay.
You got that, everyone?
That's a classic Grinch phrase when he says, I wish I were dead.
I wish I was dead. So we got a lot of things to go through.
Shouldn't one of the tiers have been Big Daddy?
Big Daddy? Big Daddy?
What the fuck? First things first, this is How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the 1966 animated special, slash the book, which came out prior, obviously, before the special.
I wish
we're
I
gonna
were
put them
dead.
together. I wish I were dead. I don't think so. So this is the original, this is the classic, where the Grinch steals Christmas and our hearts. I would say for me personally, this is Grinchy goodness. It's not my favorite, but it is a classic for a reason.
Oh yeah, that's where I'd put it too, Grinchy goodness.
What a great Grinchy trick. With this coat and this hat, I look just like Saint Nick.
He's got like his crazy that smile that he has, that animation of him doing that big grin.
It always gets me though, right at the beginning they say like, he hated Christmas, no one knows why. Then he's like, I hate the noise. Well, that seemed like that was spelled out pretty clear.
Yeah, let's get
the
this
Who's
right.
are jerk neighbors.
Yeah, let's get this right. The Grinch was correct.
Yeah, the Who's are a bunch of jerks. They're like, we don't care. We got this thing that's just designed to be annoying. Who cares if the Grinch hates this? What's he gonna do? Steal everything? Bro.
So pretty good stuff.
There's some Who's, like red colored Who's, and they're barely present, but you can, they're just sort of there. Like, why is there so few of those Who's? It's like those small Who's in the Jim Carrey one, there's very few of them around. There's some real minorities in the Who community.
The Who's are pretty weird.
Yeah.
I think we can agree on that. Why is the Grinch the weird one in their situation? Clearly he's the least freaky one of all. Halloween is Grinch Night. 1977.
I've never talked about this
never
one
talked
before.
about Halloween as Grinch Night.
Watch that thing I didn't make talking about it.
This is a weird version of the Grinch,
Yeah.
right? Like, he starts out by saying, like, it's a great night for eyebrows.
And then they just fly off his head.
It's a wonderful night for eyebrows.
He's a warlock of some sort in
Yeah,
this one with
this is the
a
only
pocket dimension in his paraphernalia wagon.
Yeah, this is one of the most sinister Grinches. And yeah, this is the only version where he's like a wizard of some sort.
He's even
Very
meaner
strange.
to Max in this one.
Yeah.
Max gets a song like, why am I still here?
Why am I alive?
What am I doing here?
it's so weird trying to figure out the continuity between how the Grinch Stole Christmas and Halloween is Grinch Night. It's like, what happened first? It seems like Halloween is Grinch Night had to happen first, but then Max leaves him at the end of this movie. So unless he has multiple Maxes, I don't know what's going on here.
I feel like every Grinch thing, it's much like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre sequels. They forget the previous ones and just do their own thing.
Yeah, he's got all this magic and hell dimensions.
Yeah, but for all these like godlike powers that he has, really, like he can't accomplish just getting down a hill. That's his entire
that's the
plot
whole
of that
movie. It's the who's going, oh no, he's slowly coming down a hill to do question mark? Is he gonna kill us all? Guess we're gonna have to wait and see.
I did like when he told the kid to put his glasses back on and face the truth, to face the facts.
You know, sir, I like you much better with my glasses off.
You put your glasses back on and face the fact.
I do like, too, that Euchariah meets the Grinch because he misses the outhouse, which they call the euphemism, and he just keeps walking up the mountain. He's like,
outhouse.
I guess the outhouse must be up this mountain.
And Halloween's never mentioned once. What a weird special.
Very weird. I mean, I can't put it on the same tier as How the Grinch Stole Christmas. I think it's so weird. I kind of enjoy it though, so I'm gonna say my heart grew no sizes that day.
No strong feelings.
Yeah, even though I do kind of have strong feelings, but I think it's funny enough that it's like, I don't know.
I think I would put it on the same tier as the original one, Grinchy Goodness. It's not as good of a special, but as far as the Grinch himself, it's just strange. Like, he's kind of fascinating, and like, what is he doing?
I enjoy that he has magic in that one. And it was a great night for eyebrows.
Really, that whole thing kind of makes the special, isn't it?
You convinced me. I'll bump it up.
Okay. The Grinch Grinches the Cat in the Hat from 1982.
Now, the Grinch has apparently forgotten all his magic, and he's become an inventor, and he invents a bunch of devices to kill the Cat in the Hat.
Oh, yeah. So, he is actually, like, he's literally insane in this. He's an insane man who talks to, or a Grinch, whatever he is. He talks to himself in the mirror.
Yeah. He does have conversations with himself in the mirror that convinces himself to be more evil, because he's kind of like, I think I'm going to be nice, and then his mirror version's like, you're going to be the biggest piece of shit in the world. Yeah, okay, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm a Grinch. I'm a Grinch. I'm a Grinch.
And so he's out driving along, and then the Cat in the Hat is in his way in the road.
Yeah. The Cat in the Hat's being a jerk, though, like he usually is. I mean, not Mike Myers' Cat in the Hat level jerk.
Dirty hoe.
But, you know, he's still kind of being a normal jerk. He's got his car blocking the road because he's having a picnic.
He calls him a racial slur.
Green face? Green face?
Yeah, then he calls him green face, and it's like, ooh.
That's what instigates the whole thing, is that he calls him green face. And
and that's when the Grinch is like, I'm gonna make this guy's life a living hell.
And the Grinch is like, I'm gonna ruin this guy's life. That's what he does. He just invents all of these things and then like follows the Cat in the Hat around, just like being an asshole to him.
I like he has like a dark ray, so it's like the Cat in the Hat's driving, and then he shoots this, and he can't see where he's driving.
This is another one where you're rooting for the Grinch, right? Because the Cat in the Hat is very annoying, and you're like, yes.
And the Cat in the Hat won't shut up, and I love that there's one device he makes that screws up his speech, so he's like...
In this world of...
Hilarious. Well deserved. Very weird ending, though. Like, they sing at him about his mom, and that's how he...
The Cat in the Hat was really banking that he had a good relationship with his mom.
Yeah, what if his mom was an
knows?
asshole? You don't know. You don't know the Grinch's situation.
Yeah, some of these things seem to imply the Grinch is one of a kind, but if he had a mother that looked like him, which is what we see when he
the picture,
thinks about her in this, there's apparently more Grinches out there.
Yeah, very weird.
This is the stinker that stole Christmas.
The stinker that stole Christmas. I don't know. I don't dislike it, but I wouldn't put it up with those other two.
Yeah, I guess my heart grew no sizes that day is more fair, because it is amusing watching him fuck with the Cat in the Hat.
Yeah, I guess I would say it's my heart grew no sizes.
Because there's definitely going to be other things I'm going to put lower, so I think that's a solid one.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm putting mine at too, just because, like, the special itself, like, we had laughs talking about it, but it's not really fun to watch.
No.
It's just
It's
weird.
not the best. It's not... It gets weird, but it's not Halloween is Grinch Night weird. So
Yeah.
it's just a little bit below that.
Mediocre.
Yeah, we love the Grinch as a jack of all trades, though.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes he's a great inventor, sometimes he's a warlock, sometimes he's just a guy who comes down and steals a bunch of stuff.
I think they kept the inventor thing, though. He seems to be an inventor and a lot of iterations after that, though. So that seems to, shape what he is later.
But where's his paraphernalia wagon?
He got rid of it.
In the fabulous world of Dr. Seuss.
The Wubbleless World of Dr. Seuss from 1996.
This is a disappointment. The Grinch meets Hensen. That should be great, right?
Yeah, this was something we hadn't heard of until we were doing this video. So the Jim Henson Company worked together with the Dr. Seuss people, and they made a Dr. Seuss show for 2 seasons on Nickelodeon. And I guess they had some production problems because, I don't know, the first season, focus groups or something said that it was too scary. So
they made it weenier, I guess.
It's hard to think of it being weenier than what we saw, but...
It's pretty junior. It's not really that fun to watch. It's not a show that feels like, it's also got funny things for no more of an adult audience. It's just kind of like, this is kind of cutesy crap for the kids.
Yeah, I think it's just also really hard to translate Dr. Seuss into traditional narratives. Because, like, as stories, like, it's interesting hearing the rhyming schemes, and you got, like, the great art, and, like, there is some sort of lesson in it, and it's fantastical. But when you translate it to, like, you're watching a half-hour TV show or a movie or whatever, you gotta add something to it, and it can't just be a bunch of nonsense, because it kind of tests your patience trying to pay attention to it.
Yeah.
Because there were parts of it where I was like, I don't know what's going on, to be honest.
And sometimes they have to really bend over backwards to make it rhyming still. And just,
Yeah. Yeah, they're kind of stretching it.
It couldn't be him. No, it just couldn't be.
So we watched 2 episodes of this. We didn't watch every season. We watched...
We got a little sample size of what the Grinch is like in this.
Yeah. The first one we watched was actually like the end of the season, and it was the only one that was split into 2 episodes, so it was very short, but half of it was about the Grinch meeting Max. So I thought that might be kind of an interesting backstory.
This is mostly like Max showed up and he's like, dog, I guess I'll adopt you at the end.
He just kept showing up at the door, and then he was itchy, and then he scratched an itch, and that's the entirety of the story. Like, it's so nothing.
I give up.
Yeah, and this must have been a product of when they were told the Grinch was too scary, and they were trying to, like, tone it down near the end of the run, because it just had nothing to it.
Yeah. Yeah, the other one had a bit more. It's like Grinch steals an egg.
He steals an egg, and he's, like, slinking around the bushes and stuff and hiding out in, like, a swamp or whatever. But, like, at least the way they shot some of that, it was kind of creepy. I think them being puppets kind of added to it, but...
Yeah, when the main girl gets to the Grinch's house, like, out in the swamp, which I don't know why he lives in the swamp, but alright, he, like, grabs her and throws her in his house.
So I kind of see why they thought it was scary, if that's the tone of the rest of the series.
And then the Grinch has arms that grab things and, like, hold them to the wall.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It's
That's
it's
scary.
the labyrinth, like those arms from the labyrinth
That's
where
true.
they go down that hole and they have all the hands.
That's why I didn't like Labyrinth. It was too scary for me. I didn't like this. I didn't like it.
I
I'm
wanted to
sorry.
like it more, but it just,
I love the Muppets. I enjoy Dr. Seuss, but not every Dr. Seuss thing. Obviously, I like the Grinch a lot, though. But man, I couldn't stand anyone else in this. The Grinch himself, it was okay, but everyone else, it was like
too much
shut up.
Horton.
Too much Horton. No one cares about
Yeah,
Horton.
we don't give a who about you, Horton.
We don't give a hoot. Give a who.
Yeah.
Anyway, Stinker That Stole Christmas for me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's where it is for me as well.
lay the small town of Whoville, the home of the Whos.
The Grinch 2000!
Oh, I hate this one.
This is actually like, it's a divisive movie among people. Some people hate it and some people adore it.
Yeah, so some people are like, yeah, I agree with them, then they're going to be mad when I say I actually like it.
I'm sorry, top tier Grinch. Top tier Grinch. You do not get better than this Grinch.
This movie does everything right when expanding this story. And they do some ridiculous things. You're like, I love that they put that in there and got away with it. Like the Whos have a key party. What is going on?
They have a key party. The Grinch has lesbian moms. Baby Grinch is in this. Truly terrifying in the best way.
We gotta mention the Grinch fucker.
The Grinch fucker.
My heart belongs to someone else.
Truly top tier character.
Motorboats are at one point. The stuff they're getting away with.
All the like adult jokes thrown in there.
You got Clint Howard.
You got Clint Howard as hubris.
The sheer fucking hubris.
The sheer fucking hubris.
Oh, that's a good one. That is rich.
Jim Carrey puts in the best performance of his career.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this was the best.
It is amazing. And he's acting through a lot of annoying prosthetics. He was dealing with a lot, getting into that.
He actually, he trained with people who, dealt in, dealing with torture.
Now pucker up and kiss it, Whoville!
This movie should not exist, is the thing, because it's the insane amount of work that they put into this.
Yeah.
It's truly a once in a lifetime kind of thing to get for all
they
of
couldn't
these elements to
CG
work
all
together.
that crap back then, so
Yeah, there was a lot of CG,
there's some
but they
CG,
used it
but
sparingly.
Yeah, there's so much they had to do practically because you couldn't CG those things back then.
Yeah, the sets, the costume design, the makeup, it's all a really impressive scope, and it's just incredible what they were able to accomplish. And especially when you compare it to other things around that time, it really was ahead of its time.
This is the one that introduced that they're living on a snowflake, which I think made people think every version of the Grinch said that. They're on a snowflake.
A lot of the things that they added made sense, and this expanded on Cindy Lou Who's character, which I think a lot of iterations after that have also done the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
It makes sense to kind of use this character. It also is just really funny. I think the writing is just really funny in that movie.
He only comes out once a year, and he never catches any flack for it. Probably lives up there to avoid the taxes.
It's unfortunate Jeffrey Tambor.
Unfortunately, Jeffrey Tambor's in it, but at least he's the villain, so...
Yeah, it works.
I love when Baby Grinch bites that Santa head off. The scene with the little car that explodes.
Yeah, very good.
I remember seeing that in the theater vividly. I remember the scene with the car getting big laughs. The thing I enjoy about the Grinch in general, but especially in this movie, is that, he's basically a living shitpost, right? He's just, he's this big green weirdo, and, he's got this strange, Sean Connery accent and weird teeth and his dump truck ass. And he's walking around terrorizing Whoville, and they're all a bunch of wieners. And the fact that they changed this movie around to kind of say, they didn't really get it either, I felt like it made sense that they all kind of had to learn this lesson, because there were elements of that in the original story too that just felt like the Who's kind of needed to learn a lesson too.
Yeah, it is better that they all kind of oh yeah, I guess.
Yeah. Anyway, Grinch of all time.
Absolutely. Best Grinch ever.
Number 1. Now we're getting into the game section, and I kind of lumped them all together, even though some of them were released later. There was one just released this year, but I'm going to kind of put them together because I think a lot of them are kind of in a similar category, and we might not have as much to say about them. But let's start with the one that I think we're going to have the most to say about, which is the Grinch game from the 2000 movie.
Big Daddy? Hey, who are you? Big Daddy? Hey, who are you? Big Daddy?
This is the only Grinch game that we have, by the way. The other Grinch games, we had to look at Let's Plays.
You want something that shows you how poorly the PlayStation's aged? You look at the graphics in this.
This is one of the worst games I've ever played. This was truly terrible to play.
Made us not want to play anymore.
It's similar to a lot of the other games in that you're going around like destroying presents. That seems to be like a main thing going on. But you gotta like pancake them with your ass. It's literally called the pancake.
This power is one that he completely controls. He'll pancake anything to attain all his goals.
The controls are not great. It's hard to figure out how to see things sometimes because you're kind of fighting against the camera in certain places.
Yeah, the controls are ass. And it's this guy doing a not very good Jim Carrey impression.
No.
Doing the dialogue for
It's one of
Grinch.
those tie-in games where they're like, we're not going to try and match it at all. Deal with that.
No.
I have a great idea. This year, the Who's will pay.
And so he walks around town, and then, like, you gotta avoid the Who's because, like, they'll hug you, and then you gotta shake them off. But the thing is, the Who's say, like, limited dialogue. Like, there's, like, some cops that go, like, freeze as you run by, or, like, there's one that, like, throws snowballs at you. But the one that has the most involved dialogue is the Who that runs up to you and goes,
Hey, who are you? Big Daddy? Big Daddy? Hey, who are you? Big Daddy?
and it's like the most like unnecessarily sexual delivery of this, like, and it's the only thing he says, so you hear this a million times. The only times you hear the Grinch talk is in like cutscenes, so most of what you're hearing in this game is, hey, who are you? Big Daddy?
Hey, who are you? Big Daddy? Hey, who are you? Big Daddy? Hey, who are you? Big Daddy? Hey, who are you? Big Daddy? Hey, who are you? Big Daddy? Hey, who are you? Big Daddy? Hey, who are you? Big Daddy? Hey, who are you? Big Daddy? Hey, who are you? Big Daddy?
It's so weird.
Why does he call you Big Daddy?
Why is this their reaction? They see this green guy. Like, who are you? Big Daddy! Like, I'm gonna latch onto you.
Yeah, you gotta like shake him off, and he's like, "Oh, it's unbearable!" And then that takes you to the beginning. You don't die though. You don't fail. You just keep going back to where you started, and then you get
have
back
to do
to
like a bunch of missions where it's like you have to figure out where you're supposed to go, and it takes a long time.
It's droney and weird, and it feels like a liminal space. Like you're there, and it's like,
What is this?
But what is happening? Dad? Dad? Daddy who? Big Daddy?
Speaking of shit posts, I mean that's a shit post of a game.
Yeah, you constantly think there's places you can get up to, and then it's like, oh wait, no, that's the edge of the world. You can't jump there. You just fall down.
No, this game it makes me laugh talking about it, but I don't know. I'm gonna say I want to die. Is where I'm putting this. Like this is like garbage.
Yeah, I want to die. This game makes me feel that.
Truly fucking shitty tie-in game.
Ouch! It's unbearable!
Alright, so the other games that they had, there's the Grinch game that also came out in 2000, which is on the Game Boy Color. How the Grinch Stole Christmas DS game from 2007. And this year they came out with the Grinch Christmas Adventures. I just put them all together because basically how I feel about all of them is that I have no strong feelings about any of them. Like, my heart grew no sizes that day. I don't know if you feel any different about any particular ones, but I don't have a whole lot to say.
I'm more upset about the DS one, I think, than those others, so I'm gonna say I want to die about that one. Because it should be much better, but it's
That's
like
the
the
one
Game
where it's
Boy
just the
Color
brown
one looks better than that.
Yeah, the DS one is like the same level over and over again with this like brown house and shit. Like that looks like so unrewarding to play. It wasn't rewarding to watch a Let's Play of it, but like it just seems like why would you spend your money on that? It looks like a bad mobile game.
And the one that came out this year, I think is just disappointing because it came out this year. It should be much better than what it looks like it is. So.
It looked better than the DS one.
Yeah, it looks nice, but it's just side-scrolling, kind of not that involved looking gameplay.
In that one, you got to see the Grinch's toilet, though.
It did
I
have
feel
his
like
toilet.
that's the only iteration you get to see the Grinch's toilet.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm gonna flush myself right down that toilet and I want to die.
I did like with the Game Boy Color one, the like little animations that they did, very Japanese.
The sexy cutscene
Grinch, yeah. That was kind of interesting, but it also came off a little creepy with all the like the MIDI music and the the
8-bit music.
The 8-bit music and stuff. I don't know, something kind of creepy about it. Anyway, do you have any other rankings or?
I have no strong feelings, and then the DS one and the new one go When I Want to Die.
And the Poplar Pike Playhouse invites one and all from the smallest of small to the tallest of tall.
Musical the Musical at the Poplar Pike Playhouse on the Germantown High School campus.
Musical. The musical.
There's barely any Grinch in this.
There's barely any Grinch. The Grinch is not in it very much. It's a musical based around a Who and various adventures with other Dr. Seuss characters. The Grinch is there because they're in Whoville. But this is, I think, the only media that's like, well, media, but the only
one of the very
Dr.
few
Seuss related things that's post When He Stole Christmas.
Mr. Grinch has always a wonderful Christmas show!
Don't fret! I'll be back next Christmas!
So he's nicer, he's in with the Who's doing Christmas stuff.
Yeah, but he's also kind of boring. Because he's not...
Well, they're not doing anything with him, so...
The version we watched had a girl Grinch, so I think that was kind of interesting.
Had a girl Cat in the Hat as well.
A girl Cat in the Hat. Yeah, I think like in the Broadway version, Cat in the Hat's, it could be any gender. I'm not sure about the other ones. I don't think I saw the Grinch being anyone else, but I guess they could be. Obviously, they did in this production. So I guess it being a girl Grinch made it kind of interesting.
Made it woke.
Woke! I thought the costume was weird. It reminded me of like Cats. I don't have too much to say because the Grinch really didn't do too much.
No.
But where do you rank?
I want to die.
Grinch? I want to die? Really?
I didn't like it.
I'm gonna say my heart grew no sizes that day for this because like I don't hate it, but I don't really have any strong feelings about this whole thing. There just wasn't enough Grinch in it.
I hated Christmas for like a short period of a few decades, but do I hate it now? A little bit.
Universal Studios Grinch! This is amazing. If you don't know, at Universal Studios, they have a character actor employed to be the Grinch based off of the Jim Carrey version of it. I love this. Okay, you can find videos of this all over YouTube. These are guys whose jobs are just to roast kids.
Boom roasted.
Boom roasted.
I don't want to vote with you anyway. Look at you. I don't understand baby needs. What'd you say?
Whoa, kid! What bet did you lose? This whole interaction started out horrible, but now I'm touched!
It's hilarious. Like, I laugh so hard every time I watch these videos because, like,
she loves the ASMR video.
Okay, the ASMR video is just fucking weird.
I think I need to have a crunchy nipple.
They do like promotional videos, which I think are less funny. Cause like, I mean,
they did The Office.
Yeah, they did The Office.
Speaking of boom roasted.
Boom roasted.
Boom. Roasted.
I just think like these are great because it's like it's good spirited roasting. It's meant to make people laugh and people love going there to like have the Grinch roast them or their kids. He's like burping in people's faces. He's rubbing onions under his armpits.
It's great that it's mostly based still on the Jim Carrey one.
Yeah, I love that they're still doing that. But they're like, it seems like in some of the newer ones they're incorporating some lore from the Illumination version.
But still, like most of it is based around the Jim Carrey. They have the other characters, like the mayor that looks like the Jim Carrey one.
Yeah, they have a Grinch fucker there.
Yeah, they have Martha May.
I just think, like, I really admire the, like, actors playing the Grinch because, like, they all kind of are different in their own way, but they gotta be really on their toes to be able to improvise and also be mean but not be too mean because you don't want to, like, make kids feel bad.
It's really would be very hard to do.
Yeah, and it's like, that's gotta be a fun job to have.
All right, well, that's fake. Nothing in Hollywood is real!
I encourage people to check out these videos because they're really good, and I appreciate and thank the people that upload their own videos because I have enjoyed them greatly. So I'm going to put that under Grinch of all time because, I mean, I think like it's really funny, and I like the Jim Carrey version of the Grinch. I think this is an extension of that, and I think like they're really talented.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Illumination Grinch from 2018.
Well, that happened.
Starring Benedict Cumberbumble. We have the man with the most Dr. Seuss name of all time.
Mm-hmm. He played the most normal version of the Grinch.
It just feels like a guy with anxiety. This barely felt like the Grinch to me. Like, the Grinch, he's kind of like a weird Bigfoot boogeyman for the Who's in most versions. And this, he's just a guy that hangs around town that kind of feels sorry for himself. He doesn't even talk that weird. I feel like
he's got a very normal voice.
I specifically bought enough food to last until January. How much emotional eating have I been doing?
Yeah, the like creature element of him being this fucking weirdo is a little lost.
It's the one that doesn't need as big a turnaround because he's not really that mean, like in some aspects.
He's called the mean one. He's the mean one, Mr. Grinch. He's not even that mean.
Like, he's the nicest to Max we've ever seen.
Yeah, I don't know. This felt like a middle-of-the-road Illumination movie. It felt a little cold and soulless to me.
Yeah, it had some questionable covers of the classic music and the Grinch.
Mr. Grinch, you're a bad banana.
The fact that they replaced Brad Dourif as the narrator is a crime. But I don't know, like, Benedict Cumberbatch's version of the Grinch, it was just very bland.
Yeah, I was not impressed.
Yeah, I mean, the animation's fine, like, it looks nice like any other Illumination movie, but, like, it just felt a little unnecessary. Like, I'm sure kids enjoyed it, but it just feels like there are better versions.
Obviously, they weren't going to go as, like, hard as some of the things they got away with putting in the Jim Carrey version. You were saying when we watched it, it seemed like they were trying to go out of their way sometimes not to repeat things from that version when they're expanding upon the lore, and it's just, they don't have a lot, so they're struggling to figure out what to expand the story with.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to expand this story into an hour and a half, and when it's already been done, and you're trying to do your own version of it, like, what do you do? So, I don't know, it felt like, yeah, a less good version of the 2001.
It's not something I would want to rewatch, like, I will rewatch the Jim Carrey one.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this is the stinker that stole Christmas.
That sounds fair.
Dr. Seuss's The Grinch Musical from 2020. Baby! The pandemic's over!
The social distancing before it was cool.
I was different at school, kept my social distance before it was cool.
So if you guys weren't aware of it at the time, in 2020, you know, during the pandemic, they decided theater's back. And they did the Grinch Musical. That was the big return for like a big production like this. They're like, we're gonna get people out of this malaise from this pandemic. We're gonna cheer people up. And like, they had just introduced the vaccine. This was pretty dangerous times. And they're like, you know what people want is the Grinch. Yeah. The motherfucking Grinch.
But you know what would make it better is if Max narrated it.
A hole in the mountain was once home to me. You can guess who I live with. Starts with a G.
This is a weird musical. This didn't originate in 2020. This was one that I think was like Broadway or off-Broadway or something, and this was an adaptation of it. It's a strange musical. They got the narrative device with an older Max singing and talking to you about the story, and he interacts with himself.
Yeah, sometimes he messes with the story. We see earlier versions of Max were a girl, I guess, so maybe Max is trans, so all power to him, I guess.
Hey, but, you know.
But he also changes races, and I don't know about that.
Whatever.
And I loathe Christmas Day. I poo-poo them in every possible way.
But the important thing in this musical is the Grinch. And holy fuck, this is the worst fucking Grinch I've ever seen. What was going on? Like, what was happening with this Grinch? This is the most unnecessarily sexual Grinch that I've ever seen.
Big Daddy?
He's so horny.
He's so horny all the time. I don't understand, like, he makes farts horny. Why does he make farts horny?
Oh! Max
doesn't even have a love interest in this one.
He doesn't have a love interest. But everything just makes him want to orgasm.
Yeah. Oh, Max.
He he's slinking around this whole thing, being horny and weird. They have the scene where he's like undercover, being horny and weird. He's singing his song about stealing Christmas, being horny and weird. And all the songs are ass in this. Everything that's not like lifted from another version of the Grinch is terrible.
Mm-hmm.
The Who's are all annoying. And then they sing that song from the 2000 Grinch movie, the Where Are You Christmas, but they sing it because they're sad that Christmas was stolen, which is like the opposite point of why the song was sung by Cindy Lou Who in the first place.
They do like that minimalist set thing too, where it reminds me of that old 60s Star Trek one where they're in the old West town and they just have the half houses and stuff. It's weird too how much they just kind of leave white. Like they've got the Seuss kind of drawing style and things, but some of them could be colored a bit more. Like it's very plain in some scenes.
Yeah, it does give it kind of a surreal feel, and not necessarily in a good way, but
yeah, makes the world a little bleaker.
What we needed in 2020 was the world to be a little bleaker.
Yeah.
I'm scared of this Grinch.
He really needed a Martha May, so he wouldn't be so horny.
He's got Max. He gets in the jacuzzi with him at the end, so apparently they imply that him and Max are fucking.
Thanks for the snack. Did you start the jacuzzi? Sure did, Max.
This is not what we wanted in 2020, but I will say I didn't regret getting a free trial of Fubo to see it live when it happened. The world was watching. Where were you when the Grinch musical aired?
Hashtag Grinch!
When he's making jokes like fucking hashtag Grinch, we're sitting there like, I wish I could be with people again.
It's like he saw the horny parts of the Jim Carrey ones. Like, okay, that's the whole character.
I'm gonna be thirsty Grinch. What was he thinking in his mind when he decided this was gonna be the characterization?
Horny.
Very strange. I was scared when he like looked at the camera to address the audience. Like I'm like, oh no, please don't.
Don't get us in on this Grinch. We want no part of it.
I hate your couch.
Anyway, I want to die. That's where I'm putting this. This is
yes, I want to die.
The worst Grinch ever made. Last but not least, the mean one.
I want to die.
I want to die.
Done.
Actually, I lied about the other one being the worst Grinch ever made. This is the worst Grinch ever made. We should establish this is a horror movie parody of the Grinch. It is not an officially sanctioned Grinch, but it's the Grinch, so we're gonna include it on here.
There's such an opportunity here. They drop the ball. Like the beginning is the best part because it starts, you know, like when Cindy Lou Who meets the Grinch as he's stealing everything, and they go, "Oh yeah, but what if it happened this way?"
Those folks down in town. But what if I said? That's not how it went down.
And the mother comes in, oh, get away from my daughter!
Right,
and then the Grinch accidentally kills her in the struggle. That's funny. The rest of the movie is not.
Yeah. What a disappointment this was, though. I legit was looking forward to it, and I don't know why I do with these sorts of things, because it always ends up the same with these shitty horror movies. But I thought maybe they could come up with something, and when they did sort of a twist on the story.
You could easily, they just don't.
Yeah, he seems to be based on the Jim Carrey Grinch, the way that they've designed him, but they don't really use anything from any of the Grinches. He's silent the whole time.
It's just a creature that roars.
Yeah.
I think one time it does the...
Yeah, he does, like, occasionally they'll do something Grinch-like, but most of the time he's just like a green monster guy.
Yeah, he just kills people in like any slasher, kind of over-the-top slasher you'd see, because he throws people in like meat grinders and stuff like that.
Yeah, and it just feels like, I mean, those scenes are kind of funny, but like, so much of the movie is just a shitty horror movie set in our world,
I feel
where
like
they might mention the mean one occasionally.
There's definitely a way to have these kills relate more to the Grinch, and they'd be funnier the closer you can stay to that kind of thing, but you know, make it a weird horror. but they don't. They pretty much go, no one believes in this thing. Like, it doesn't make a lot of sense because it's a cover-up about the Grinch, but also this town's banned Christmas because the Grinch will come down and kill them. So I don't really know how that's supposed to work. Everyone's like, yeah, I guess Christmas is just banned in that town. Okay.
I guess the funnier version of this would be if it was actually set like in Whoville and he's killing the Who's because you want to see the Who's die. But I kind of get why, you know, on this kind of budget they're going to be making something just set in the real world. But you got to play with this sense of whimsy. That's what makes it funny instead of just making a bad monster movie. I guess props for playing it serious, but you don't need to play it that serious, otherwise it just becomes like boring, and it did. So I don't know, this wasn't fun to watch.
It should have been more fun, but it just wasn't. They had Dr. Zeus.
Dr. Zeus.
Dr. Zeus!
This is I think the only one on this list I would actively tell people not to watch. Everything else it's like, check it out if you're curious, but this one, like, don't bother.
Yeah, it goes on the same tier as the musical, but it's worse than the musical.
No, the musical is bad, but in a glorious disaster kind of way. I can't say that it's the top tier Grinch, but I had fun watching it. But this one is not fun at all. So, yeah, I Want to Die. That's where I'm ranking that one. Bottom of the barrel.
Absolutely.
And that was the last Grinch. So, just to remind people, I'm going to put on screen what our 2 tier lists were. What's your tier list? Well, where do you rank your Grinches? How'd you like the video? Leave a comment down below. Let us know what you thought. Anyway, hope you guys have a Merry Grinchmas. We'll be seeing you around. Bye!